Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. This morning, let us explore the meditation classic composed by the great Buddhist reformer Prahevajra, known as the Great Potentiality. This morning, we are going to explore the third of 5 passages. The non-dual great bliss could be experienced by all sentient beings. Even the wrong path, as conceived by deluded followers, is not different from the universal path, as explained above. Whoever understands this equality is the Lord of the Buddhas. Now, I think this would be a little bit better if I did an edit. First, let's make sure everything is copacetic. Excellent. Let's go over here. Oh, I think I made a boo-boo. Let's try that again. Okay, back we go. Let's see if this fits on the page. It appears to. Excellent. Thank you very much for your patience. Try to complete this edit as quickly as possible. Okay, back to it. Once again, erroneous prepositions. Non-dual great bliss could be experienced by all sentient beings. Even the wrong path as conceived by deluded followers is not different from the universal path as explained above. Whoever understands this equality is the Lord of the Buddhas. So clearly this passage is full of figurative language. So non-dual great bliss could be experienced by all sentient beings. And even though there are many blissful things in our lives, every beautiful sight, every melodious sound, every pleasurable sensation, every delicious flavor, every fragrant scent, every emotion, intention, cognition, recollection, and imagining that we enjoy is technically bliss. On a more subtle level, every time we passively cooperate with the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems located in our spinal cord, every time we cooperate with our body's built-in tendencies to notice and release, that is a subtle form of bliss. However, in the contemporary terminology of the day in which this was composed, non-dual great bliss was one of the many nicknames for full enlightenment. And so what is explained in this triplet is a statement of egalitarianism, that enlightenment is not for special people living in a special time in a special location with special companions and a special teacher. No, it's for everybody. Remember, in the second to the last passage, the penultimate passage of the Satipatthana Sutta, the discourse on the four bases of mindfulness, the Buddha explained that one could master his path in as little as 7 days. So this is an egalitarian path. The author then elaborates, because a typical objection is, hey, dude, what about people who are walking the wrong path? That is conceived by people who are just, delulu. And he explores this in a very funny way. No matter how far up our head is in the warm, dark, smelly place we sometimes keep it, we still have a central nervous system that is wired to notice and release vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly. And so each of us still has the opportunity to practice. And then he plays a wonderful game with non-duality. And here's how it goes. As we relax, so I get to back up for a second. Every time we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during our previous inhalation literally could feel less stressful, less permanent, and even less defining. Figuratively, as we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during the previous inhalation could fleetingly feel as non-graspable as a vast, empty void. Well, most of us are graduates from elementary school, and we understand that a simile is only as useful as it is relatable. So we have to ask the question, what is a real-world example of a non-graspable vast empty void? And the answer would be the sky. As we relax into our exhalation, whatever we noticed during the previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which, although could look tantalizing to the eye, feels non-graspable to the hand. And so we can apply that to this context and say, as we relax into our exhalation, whatever wrong path or universal path we might have noticed during our previous inhalation can melt into the simplicity of just a path. And that is a common theme. Whether we see something ugly or beautiful, as we relax into our exhalation, it seems to melt in the simplicity of just a sight. And so forth and so on through the remaining senses and perceptions and the like. So the idea is Sturgeon's law reminds us that 90% of everything sucks, including people, especially people, including people, even those who teach meditation. So 90% are going to be conditioned to remain rigid, fearful, superstitious, controlling, elitist, cryptic, competitive, and cruel. Approximately 10% will have transcended their conditioning to become more and more flexible, loving, rational, laid back, egalitarian, lucid, cooperative, and kind. And even though that's the case, anybody, regardless of how deeply they're mired into being rigid requires a lot of energy. And there will come a time, almost every day, where that energy wavers and we just don't have the strength to be a cranky bastard. And so each of us will have an opportunity to just stumble and trip into the effortless path of passively cooperating with our own autonomic nervous system. Whoever understands this equality is the Lord of the Buddhas. This tool of non-duality is a key to transcending our own pride, our own elitism, and to recognize that everybody is our sibling under the skin. I live in the States of America, and our country went from slow walking towards fascism to sprinting towards fascism. And it's very, very easy to feel craven hatred for people who are assaulting and murdering fellow sentient beings needlessly, sadistically. And it's useful to remember that a villain, even on his worst day, is still non-dual with ourselves. That doesn't mean we stop protecting people from their villainy. But it helps us to remember that each of us is subject to the full spectrum of human perceptions, emotions, intentions, thoughts, memories, and imaginings. That we are not that different from the villains who cosplay as soldiers and stalk down the streets seeking to harm our neighbors. This can help us to be the people we need to be when someday in the future they pull their heads out of the warm, dark place they've been keeping it and wish to become better people. Having completed this morning's opening lesson, we can now shift gears. It is Luke Skywalker Friday morning. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi. After about 30 seconds of housekeeping, this is the Dzogchen Sunday Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. For more than 30 years, I have harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I can become your personal, nerdy, neurodivergent guide to Nirvana. Welcome, my friends, to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. For the remainder of this morning's live stream, let's meditate. Oopsie, wrong button. As we feel air enter our nostrils, silently and mentally, we could recite the verb watch, which helps us to effortlessly practice mindfulness, which is merely noticing mind's antics. Every time we feel air exit our nostrils, silently and mentally we could recite the one-syllable verb rest, and thus effortlessly practice meditation, which is nothing other than relaxing into mind's non-graspable nature. If you are prone to arthritis, you may wish to adjust your legs gently once every 15 minutes or so. It's easy to get scared when we're meditating, to fear that we'll close our eyes and wake up and in 6 years will have passed like Rip Van Winkle. And so many people take comfort in timing or counting their inhalations. So here's an easy method. Every time we inhale, we can advance the tip of our right thumb, touching it to the lower set of creases or the middle set of creases or the higher set of creases or the tip found on each of the 4 fingers of our right hand for a total of 16. Counting 16 inhalations is great. It's easy to do, but it typically takes less than 2 minutes. What if we wish to meditate for closer to 20 minutes than 2 minutes? Then in addition to counting individual inhalations, on our other hand, we can count sets of 16 inhalations each in the exact same way, advancing the tip of our left thumb upon the lower, middling, higher set of creases and tip of each of our 4 left fingers for a total of 16 sets of 16 inhalations each. use gathering 16 sets of 16 inhalations each is wonderful if you wish to sit in meditation for about 20 minutes. But what if you'd like to sit for 40 minutes or approximately 60 minutes? Well, then it could behoove us to gather multiple collections of 16 sets of 16 inhalations each. And an easy way to keep track of that is to begin by resting the lower knuckle of our right index finger upon the tip of our left index finger, and then resting the two in our palms up in our lap. When it's time to gather the second collection, we can simply slide the tip of our left index finger up our right index finger till we come to its second knuckle, and then return our hands to our lap, or keep them in our lap, and use our thumbs to collect another 16 sets of 16 inhalations each. And when it's time to gather a third collection, once again, you can simply slide the tip of your left index finger up the back of your right index finger until it comes to rest upon the third knuckle. And then busy yourself collecting an additional 16 sets of 16 inhalations each. It's just nice to know we have tools and options. And if this seems overwhelming, no problem. I explain this at the beginning of every group meditation. Come to a group meditation every 12 hours, and within a week or two, you will have mastered it. If you are prone to arthritis, you may wish to adjust your legs once every 15 minutes or so. Let us remember, meditation is not contemplation. Mindfulness is not concentration. When we actively concentrate and actively contemplate, we exhaust the front part of our brain and trigger our amygdala, the seat of anxiety and aggression. This puts us into a highly competitive survival mode, which might help us survive a bear attack, but it's not going to give us a happy, fulfilling life. When we passively notice and relax in harmony with our breathing, that will put us into a cooperative mode, which is the key to fulfillment and peace and meaningful relationships. There are many so-called spiritual teachers who insist that we must go through life frightened of bad karma and its consequences. But hope and fear are just a duality. It's better to simply notice and relax whatever comes up, pleasurable or painful, interesting or boring, understanding that doing so will stimulate our seat of empathy, the anterior cingulate gyrus, and cause us to spontaneously practice kind intention and kind communication and kind conduct and even kind commerce. That is the essence of all morality. To move forward vulnerably and empathetically, happy to do the right thing, happy to learn from our mistakes. By the way, it's always safe to be vulnerable. Observing how people respond to our vulnerability will tell us whether someone is a friend or a foe. If someone responds to, if our vulnerability excites someone's predatory tendencies, then we know it's best to back away from this person and love them from afar. If our vulnerability sparks their vulnerability, then we know we're with someone who can be a teammate. Having come to the final 20 minutes of this morning's group meditation, let us coordinate our perception of our breathing with our chest. Let us silently and mentally recite the verb watch each time we feel our chest swell as we inhale. And let us silently and mentally recite the verb rest as we feel our chest sink with each exhalation. Remember, the moment you have a specific question about Buddhist philosophy or meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I check for questions approximately every 5 minutes or so. If you are prone to arthritis, you may wish to adjust your legs once every 15 minutes or so. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 11 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's evening meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.